Hey family, it's your girl Tracy D and welcome back to Mindset Mondays. Now last week we talked about renewing your mind because nothing in your life changes until your thinking does. Tonight family, we're going to dive deeper into the real, raw, honest work of healing. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about healing. I'm not talking about pretty healing, not healing with a filter, not healing that looks good on social media. I'm talking about the kind of healing that hurts before it helps, the kind that makes you face yourself, the kind that requires honesty, accountability, and a whole lot of courage. Tonight, fam, we're diving into the true power of healing, and let me be the first to tell you everything you were taught about forgive, forget, and let go, almost all of that was wrong. Because let's be honest, there is no such thing as forgetting. Memory is not the enemy, trauma is. Memory is not the burden, unprocessed pain is. Forgiving isn't healing. Healing is learning how to remember without reliving. And tonight, fam, we're going to break this thing all the way down. And before we get started, remember every Monday night, 7:30 p.m., we meet right here to grow, stretch, heal, and rise together. And make sure to subscribe on my YouTube at Tracy D MYB. Take a deep breath, family, and let's get to the heart of this work. Segment 1, Facing Your Truth, the Beginning of Healing. All right, so we're just going to take our time and get into this. Let's get started with something real. Some of the hurt we're healing from, we caused. You heard, I said it right. Hello. Some of the hurt we're healing from, we caused. I know that's a tough pill to swallow, but healing doesn't start with excuses. It starts with the truth. There was a time in my life when I kept finding myself in the same cycles, same pain, new people, same lessons. You want to hear that one more time? There was a time in my life when I kept finding myself in the same cycles, same pain, same people, new people, same lessons, different setting. And one day God whispered, "It's not them, Tracy, but it's you." Painful friendships, toxic dynamics, situations where I would always end up depleted. And I used to say, why do people keep treating me like this? But one day, God checked me, not gently, not politely, but truthfully. He said to me, it's not the people that keeps hurting you, it's the choices, familiar, that you keep making that keeps creating these wounds. Woo! Man, if nobody ain't never told me the truth, God told me the truth. See, we don't always want to choose what hurts us, but a lot of us keep choosing what's familiar. Familiar doesn't mean healthy. Familiar doesn't mean right. Familiar doesn't mean aligned. It just means familiar. And sometimes we cling to familiar pain because healing keeps like stepping into the unknown. It makes us uncomfortable. It makes us feel like we don't know what we're doing. And most of us, to be honest, we don't like to feel like that, right? Let's just take a deep moment and pause. And I'm going to repeat that. We're going to take a deep breath. One, two, three. Inhale. Exhale. Now, here's the meat and potatoes. Healing starts when you admit, I hurt myself by accepting less. I hurt myself by ignoring the truth. I hurt myself by choosing comfort over growth. Okay, here we go. Holla. Let's just let you know healing isn't a weakness, it's work. It's not pretty, but it's powerful. And by the end of this conversation, I want everybody that is listening to walk in wholeness, not just hope. Just remember the power of healing is not the social media that looks good in caption, but that deep, private, uncomfortable kind that happens when you get honest about the part you played in your own pain. I hope I didn't go a little too deep there because sometimes I know people want to hear things, but when you start actually touching them, they get a little uncomfortable. They want to say something negative. They want to say, "Oh, I know she didn't." But I'm going to be real and honest with y'all. I had to go through these same processes. And even today, I still go through these same processes because I want to make sure I stay on the right path and the right track. All right, here we go. Reflection questions. What situations in your life felt familiar but weren't healthy? I'm going to take a minute to pause. I want y'all to think about it. I want you to write it down. I want you to answer it. I'm going to ask you one more time. What situations in your life felt familiar but weren't unhealthy? All right, on to the next one. What version of you kept choosing pain because it felt normal? Hello, I know that too well myself. What version of you kept choosing pain because it felt normal? And finally, what hard truth have you been avoiding about your role in your own hurt? Hello, one more time. Let me get all them high fives. Let me get all those. Girl, I'm going to repeat that one more time. What hard truth have you been avoiding about your role in your own hurt? Now I'm gonna keep it real. You all know I had to go through some things in life. I told you in session one, in segment one, what I had to go through to overcome and still overcome some of these challenges and obstacles in life. They hard, but if we try hard, we most definitely can get over it. But one of the things that I found that was very important that has kept me, even in the midst of time, even in the midst of trial, even in the midst of denial, is scripture and keeping and being close to God. So I'm always going to throw a scripture out there, whether you want to hear it or not. If you're going to be on this podcast, you're most definitely going to get a word from God. So this scripture coming from the King James Version says, "Behold, thou diest truth in the inward parts." Psalms 51:6. And what it's saying to us is we can sell the world anything, but until we actually live in the truth and know the truth inside and then live that truth on the outside, our lives are going to be in a shambles. So we got to make sure that what we're saying to the world is how we're actually living behind closed doors. You know the old saying, only me and God know the truth. Well, sometimes those outside people that can read between the lines, they know the truth too. Say this with me. I am brave enough to face my truth. I will not hide from myself. My honesty is the beginning of my healing. All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into segment 2, The lie of forgive, forget, and let go. I'm going to say that one more time. We're going to jump into segment 2, the lie of forgive, forget, and let go. Let me tell you something that will free your whole spirit and set you free. You were never meant to forget. We've been told, just forget, and let go. But that statement has caused more long-term emotional damage than most people realize. And you say, why, Tracy D? Because forgetting is not healing. Forgetting is avoidance. When you forget the lessons, you repeat the pain. When you ignore the memory, you ignore the boundary. The mind can't forget, but the soul won't either. Hello, you heard me. The mind can forget, but the soul won't. Here's the truth: God never asked you to forget, He only asked you to forgive. Forgiveness is spiritual, forgetting is neurological. Hello, audience. Two different things. Now, I'm not no doctor, nurse practitioner, or any of that. But I do have the Bible, and I believe everything in this world stems from something in the Bible. So I'm going to repeat that. Forgiveness is spiritual, forgetting is neurological, and they are most definitely two different things. Forgiveness does not erase memory. Forgiveness removes the poison from the memory. You know, the one that hurt you, the one that made you feel some type of way, the one that made you carry unnecessary baggage throughout your life and you couldn't figure out why you couldn't let that part go. That's why. You still remember what happened, but it does not control you anymore. This is where it get real good. You remember who they were, but you don't let it shape who you become. I'm going to have to say that maybe 2 or 3 times because, boy, I used to do this to myself all the time. You still remember what happened, but it does not control you anymore. You remember who they were, but you don't let it shape who you become. You remember the moment, but you don't relive the pain. Y'all, this part is real talk. Let me speak from my own life. There was someone in my past, someone I cared deeply about, who broke my trust in a way that cut me deep. For a while, I tried to pretend it didn't hurt. I told myself, forget it, move on. But every time I stuffed it down, it leaked out somewhere else. It affected how I loved. It affected how I trust. It affected how I led. It affected how I believed in myself. And y'all, baby, when I finally healed, I realized something powerful. I didn't need to forget it. I needed it to remember it correctly. The memory became a boundary, not a wound, a teacher, not a trigger, a reminder of what I would never accept again. Hello, you hear me? I'm going to say that one more time. The memory became a boundary, not a wound, a teacher, not a trigger, a reminder of what I would never accept again. Now, I'm going to give y'all just a couple of minutes, and we're going to have some reflection questions. What pain have you tried to forget instead of heal? One more time. What pain have you tried to forget instead of heal? What memory is waiting for you to process it instead of burying it? One more time. What memory is waiting for you to process it instead of burying it? And finally, what have you forgiven but never understood and is still affecting the choices you make today? Woo, that's a deep one right there. I'm going to repeat it one more time. What have you forgiven but never understood and is still affecting your choices today? Well, again, I'm no doctor, I'm no nurse, I'm no therapist, I'm no counselor, but I do go to the Bible for everything. And the scripture from King James Version says, remember, ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Behold, will do a new thing. Isaiah 43:18 and 18. And the revelation to this is remember. Remembering doesn't mean living in it. It means refusing to be defined by this. And I'm going to repeat this one more time for clarity. Remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Isaiah 43:18 and 19. Say this with me. I forgive, but I do not forget. I remember the lesson, not the pain. The memory protects my growth. Hello, one more time. I forgive, but I do not forget. I remember the lesson, but not the pain. My memory protects my growth. All right, y'all. That is a good one for segment 2. And now we going to jump into segment 3 because you know time is rolling and I got to make sure that I stay on track. Okay, we going to talk about accountability, release, and real freedom. Y'all think we can do this? I think we can. I think y'all doing good. And just keep on believing in yourself and never let nobody take away what you know is true. So now let's talk about the part of healing that most people want to avoid, and that's accountability. Healing isn't just about what happened to you. Healing is about what you allow. See, we all want to be quick to blame our baby's daddy, our cousins, our best friends, girls that we don't know, or people on the job. But the truth is, healing isn't just about what happened to you. Healing is about what you allowed to happen to you. Healing is about what you ignored. Healing is about the version of you that you didn't know better. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Healing is about the version of you that didn't know better. Can I say that one more time? Because, see, a lot of us want to run around here and act like we know everything and act like we got everything all together. Y'all, to be truthful, we don't. We don't. I didn't. I know I didn't. And that's why I had to go through so much in life, so much pain, so much trauma that I inflicted on myself and that I allowed to be inflicted upon me. And here's the truth. Healing leads to freedom, but freedom requires release. And some of us is still walking around in our new season carrying baggage from the last one. Y'all, for me, once I started letting go of people, guilt, old mindsets, my vision cleared. I could finally see what God was trying to show me all along. Because I'm going to tell y'all, I was screwed up. I was real screwed up. And that's okay. Because I'm not dead. And until we die, we still have an opportunity. Y'all, the doors that close, at first I used to take it in a negative way. But I realized those doors that were closed on me, y'all, they were my protection, not my rejection. The people who left, they were pruning, not punishment. Healing opened me to open up a piece in my life that I did not know I could have. The peace built my confidence, my discipline, and my discernment. That's why the heart of work, understanding that healing isn't about being unhurt, it's about being unshaken. Y'all hear me? It's about being unshaken. When I started holding myself accountable, I'm talking about real accountability. My whole life shifted. I want y'all to understand accountability is not shame. Accountability is about empowerment. Do you hear what I'm saying? Accountability is not about shame. Accountability is about empowerment, empowering yourself to do better and be better. When I started holding myself accountable, my whole life shifted. My leadership shifted. My relationship shifted. My boundaries shifted. And my peace became non-negotiable. Y'all, I love my peace. I didn't even know there was such thing because I have lived in such turmoil. Y'all, my peace is non-negotiable. If you are not fitting my purpose or my need and you trying to bring mess and you being messy, you got to go. I have to cut you off. And it's not because I don't love you, but it's because I value my peace more. You cannot move forward while still defending what you broke. Hello, I'm going to tell you one more time. And let me tell you this truth. You cannot heal what you keep it making excuses for. Y'all, we've been making so many excuses and coming up with so many reasons and still not wanting to change how we think. Mindset is power. You know the Black Panthers say black power. Y'all, that is mindset. And until we change our mindset and how we do things, things will not change. And some of us going to die in this same mindset that we in today because we refuse to hold ourselves accountable. Okay, let's get to the heart of this. Healing requires release, not release of the memory, but release of the hold it has on you. Some of y'all need to have that. That's a wake up call. Healing requires release, not release of the memory, but release of the hold that it has on you. Some of you have forgiven others, but you haven't forgiven yourself. That's powerful. You have forgiven others, but you haven't even forgiven yourself. Some of you release people, but not the guilt. Some of you walked away physically, but not emotionally. Hello, one more time. Some of you walked away physically, but not emotionally, meaning you still holding that weight, that burden inside in your heart, y'all. And we all know stress is a silent killer because we think we so tough. We've been taught as black and brown people that we got to be tough. We got to have strength. We got to be powerful. We got to be resilient. We have to be all these things. But y'all, what we really doing is we piling up unnecessary stress until we end up with high blood pressure, until we end up with a stroke, and until we end up 6 feet under. All because we've been taught the wrong way. And that's okay, y'all, because we can change these things. We can most definitely change these things. Uh, and I'm just so happy to be able to sit here and just share my own personal experiences, y'all, because I'm telling you, I was in a rough place in life. We gonna hit on some reflection questions. All right, here we go. What part of your healing journey requires you to release you? I'm gonna say that one more time. What part of your healing journey requires you to release you? So now we going back to accountability. You got to quit saying, I done forgave everybody else. But what about you? You have to take care of you first. And if you don't release you, ain't nobody going to release you. God gives us free choice and free will. Second reflection question. What guilt are you still carrying that God already freed you from? Well, I'm gonna give y'all my own example. I know back in the day I wasn't a pretty picture. I'm gonna be real nice about it. And that's okay. I made mistakes. I did wrongdoing. I did my apology. I did all those things I was supposed to do, and I forgave myself and I released myself. But some of us is still carrying that weight about what we did last weekend, about what we did 2 weeks ago, about things that once they're done, y'all, we can't undo them, but there's things we can do to fix them. And one of it is releasing it, holding ourselves accountable, asking for forgiveness for the ones that we transgressed against, and then forgiving ourselves for what we have done to somebody else that we knew wasn't right. Who are you punishing yourself for being instead of celebrating yourself for becoming? Woo! Heck yeah, that is a strong one. Who are you punishing yourself for being instead of celebrating yourself for becoming? I remember back in the day, I had a low self esteem. I was ashamed of being me. I thought my hair wasn't long enough. I thought I wasn't pretty enough. I thought I couldn't fit in with the girls that I thought that I should have been fitting in with, or I wanted to be part of this group that I thought if they just would let me hang out with them, I could be part of them, and people would like me and the boys would be attracted to me. Baby, ooh, be careful what you ask for, because some of them same people that I see today, man, all I can do is pray for them because they not in a good situation. So we got to be careful what we speak of the tongue and be careful what we are asking for, because sometimes what we think might be good because the picture look pretty don't always necessarily mean it's good. So again, who are you punishing yourself for being instead of celebrating yourself for becoming? Y'all, we all got room to grow and to change. I don't want nobody, I don't care who you is, a friend of me, an enemy, my best friend, my sister, my kids, my husband. I I don't care who you are. We all have the opportunity, y'all, to grow and to change and to be something better, who we are. The thing is we can't allow people to take away what God has given us. God has given us all a mindset to be the best creature that He has put us on earth to be. And the problem with that is we've been so programmed to believe that we have to be a certain type or a certain kind of way, or have this kind of hair or have that kind of hair, or drive this kind of car or drive that kind of car, or have this kind of house, or not have this kind of friend, or don't like somebody because of who they like, which is irrelevant to your situation or circumstance, because that is none of your business. We have to love everybody. We all different. I'm not going to take away from that. We all got some dislikes that we may not like about people, but we still have to love one another, y'all. And in closing tonight, I'm going to, just let you know this is the calling of empowerment. Family, healing isn't for the faint of heart, it's for the faithful, walking and believing in the unseen and the unheard. Every scar tells a story, and every story carries strength. Don't rush your process. Don't compare your progress. Keep showing up for your own peace. You are not what happened to you yesterday. You are what you decide to become afterwards, tomorrow, and going forward. Let's seal this with one final truth. The same pain that once broke you can now build you. You have to give yourself permission to heal. Scripture, King James Version. He healeth the broken in heart and bindeth up their wounds. Psalms 147 and verse 3. Say this with me, family. My healing is my holy work. I am whole, I am healed, and I am ready. What's next for me? I'm your girl Tracy D, and this has been a Mindset Mondays. Meet me every Monday night at 7:30, and make sure you subscribe on YouTube at Tracy D MYB. Share this episode, tag me at Rising Queens Inc., and remind somebody tonight, healing is your power move. Protect your peace, walk in purpose, and rise like the queen or king you are. Good night. See you next Monday.